All right, you did it. I'll be outside.
Live from across the world, it's Saturday night with Uncle Dan, the Vinyl Man, and the currently absent Ricefield Records, answering none of your questions about the vinyl community because, we don't really have any answers. Why would you come to us answers with requests for answers anyway? Go to somebody who knows. Go to somebody who cares. Hey, yes, it's Uncle Dan. I'm here, and my the Rice Man, will be back in a moment. So man off many voices. Do you have any questions for me? I can't answer them, but I will pretend to. Do you have questions? I can tell you about things. Yeah, maybe I just play a little bit of lap steel here. I can get loud. Michael is probably upset right now. Where are you, Michael? If this is Michael's house. Where's Bobby tonight? Where's Bobby tonight? That's the question. This is a great question. Bobby's supposed to be here. Bobby man, where are you, Bobby? We need a Bobby. That's right. Bobby, we can't have no barbecue without no Bobby. I don't know where he is. I have some, as soon as Ricefield Records is back, Mr. Michael is back, I have records to show. I do have some new acquisitions. Otherwise, I'm going to just say things. I'll start talking about things that interest me. But anyway, I have a few new acquisitions that are very old. Why is Michael's camera in reverse? Michael's camera is in reverse because he's in the Eastern Hemisphere, and everything is reversed in the Eastern Hemisphere. I thought everybody knew that you cross that 180th parallel, boom, everything gets reversed. If you're right-handed, you become left-handed once you enter the Eastern Hemisphere. This is true. I would not at all lead you astray on this. But yeah, you enter the Eastern Hemisphere and your camera gets reversed, and things like water flows uphill, and it's just weird. It's just weird there in the Eastern Hemisphere. I don't know, but it looks like it looks like he's going to be writing about Gert Eckert. I assume Gert Eckert. That's the Oreos effect. Yes, that's the Oreos effect. That's because Oreos have a cream center. You enter the Eastern Hemisphere. Here in the Western Hemisphere, Oreos have chocolate on the outside and the vanilla cream on the inside. You go into the Eastern Hemisphere and the Oreos are reversed. You have cream on the outside and chocolate on the inside. It's very unusual. Very, very strange. So Michael can back me up on this. He will back me up remotely. Let's see. We have a remote Rice here.
Yes.
Yes. This is a sorry, man of many voices. This is a family channel.
We have technology.
We have
technology working.
Michael is outside, outside there in the Eastern Hemisphere, and you'll notice one of the peculiar things that happens when you go outside in the Eastern Hemisphere is that you switch from landscape mode to portrait mode. You'd think that being inside you'd be in portrait mode and outside you'd be in landscape mode, but it doesn't work like that in the Eastern Hemisphere. This is all true. I would not lead you astray. These are verities that I'm providing you. Would Uncle Dan ever lie to you? I'm a lawyer. I am prohibited from leading people astray ethically. Yes, it's true. So I heard something from him there. So he's, something is happening.
Not working.
It's not working. So
Yeah,
he's
frozen.
frozen.
So,
Okay,
so here.
I'm gonna.
Here we go.
Okay.
I tried, but
yeah, and I valiantly kept things together.
I'm gonna be kicked from the TED conference this year. I'm afraid I'm not gonna be able to do the keynote speech at the TED conference.
Yeah, I know you were counting on that. Everybody was, but there we go.
I totally caught with my pants down. I really thought I would give you a tour of my neighborhood.
Again, Michael, this is a family-friendly show.
Yeah. Oh, what did I say? Oh, my pants.
I'm sorry. I did get word from Bobby that work. He's got his busy schedule working.
Can't hardly hear you.
Huh?
Can't hardly hear you none.
Okay,
Get your microphone.
Here you go.
Get your microphones on.
Here you go. How's that? God.
That's much better. Better.
Okay. How are you?
Well,
How are you?
I'm alive. I'm well.
Yeah.
I am sporting. It's hard to see. The light's not real great in here.
Yeah.
Check out my new bolo tie, which I made.
Very nice.
And my new jacket.
Wow.
Yeah, it got the stuffs on it, man. Got it on the back too, but I ain't gonna get up and show you the back.
You're sporting a real entertainer look.
That's right. Yeah, I am the Dollar General Dan. I'm your bargain bin entertainer here. So there you go. So.
Is that a new frame piece above your head?
No, that's been there. That's the lake. That's just a print of the lake.
Got you.
On it's so I can't show you too much of it because if I do, I'll dox myself. I know that there are people around who will give you, they'll dox themselves. They'll give you their address and where they're living, directions to get to their house.
No directions were given. It was pretty cagey. It was pretty. You couldn't send if you wanted to send 2 Sicilian hitmen from Sicily. I don't think you could find me with the information I provided.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. You betcha. You just keep your eye out there.
Maybe what I'll do is I'll walk outside with the laptop because I did want to show you where I live before this is all said and done. How's that?
Here, I'll show you where I live.
We're going to travel. Wow, that's nice.
There's my lake.
Very nice. Very nice.
I'm getting it.
It's a private lake?
Not a private lake, no. No, it's very public.
This is the house I'm currently renting. This is the house I'm currently renting, right?
That's very nice.
Very nice, right? And it's got, it's 2 lots. It's 2 lots. The owner, which is nice, which keeps it quiet for us. Most houses, they're built on a single lot.
Uh-huh.
And so what's done with the other lot is we have a garden.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Must be boring the shit out of you. That's my car. That's a K car.
Susan was telling me about the cars that they're basically pocket sized, and that if you have an accident, you just pick it up and set it up and set it up again. That they're.
I think that they're 400cc engines. They don't. they're all built the same. I mean, look at this. They're built to a spec. You see, the axles are all the same size. So they have different variations of height, but they're called a K car, KEI.
Kind of like a K cup and about the same size as sort of a one serving. It's a one serving automobile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Nice. I'm a little worried you're going to get away from your Wi-Fi and we'll lose you. But
yeah, that's true. You're a good point. Really, really good point. Okay, we're going to go back to the.
Well, here's Uncle Dan being the technology maven for people. That's a new one. So. Okay. Now we're walking. Thank you, Michael. This is, we're walking. There's cardboard. There are boxes. Boxes have been boxed. So. The cars are glorified electric bikes. Yeah. Hey, I'm walking here. We're walking here. Yeah. One of the great movies, right? One of the great movies. The Graduate. Yeah. Michael can't hear us. This has been totally successful. This has been a resounding success with this. Michael can't hear me as I make smart alecky remarks about him. That's the best thing, It's like my rule: always kick a man when he's down.
Yeah. So
it's easier. It's easier to do.
Yes.
Yeah, Midnight Cowboy. That's right. Yeah, that's what I said. The Graduate, Midnight Cowboy. I was getting the other Dustin Hoffman movie in mind. The other Dustin Hoffman movie from just before that, Midnight Cowboy, with one of the great, one of the great songs by one of the great vocalists of the rock era, Harry Nilsson.
Yes.
That Everybody's Talking is just superb and it still holds up all these years later.
Did you ever see the movie Putney Swope by Robert Downey?
No.
It's an interesting movie. It's about an advertising agency in New York City, and the owner has a heart attack, and the fellow who ascends to the CEO position is an African American, and it's a really, really funny movie. And he hires all African Americans to run the advertising agency, and it's just their interactions with all these white advertisers. So you never heard of it, Putney Swope. Oh, there we go. Manny says, I remember seeing ads for the movie when I was in high school, Putney Swope. Yeah. And there was also...
No, I don't remember that. That sounds like a good film. Boy, it sounds like a topic rife for discussion, right?
Yes. Yeah. A discussion we're not prepared to have.
Yeah, well, I mean, you saw my... I think you saw my... Did you see my video on vocal blackness? I think you...
Yeah. I did.
Yeah, vocal blackface. Yeah, but yeah, the representation are important, right?
Yep.
So yeah. Sorry, got to do something here.
Yeah. So I moved, Manny. I moved June 28th. So I got 4 more weeks of just throwing stuff out and packing.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
If you're gonna throw that Denon turntable away,
I am not going to do that. I'm not. No.
Okay, bummer, dude. Well, why are you talking about it then?
You brought it up. Well, I've been solo the whole time. Jesus Christ.
Now you're getting illogical on me and all.
Yeah.
Concepts of linear time. I was told there would be no discussion of linear time.
Any follow-ups from your talk on the MoFi suit? Did anybody email you or reach out?
No, I've never I haven't created an email for my account, so I haven't heard from anybody.
Gotcha.
What was the situation with Bobby working? Yeah, Bobby, apparently believes that it's important to keep bread on the table. I don't know that I can agree with him on that. That seems, short-sighted to me.
Yeah.
But he says he wants to eat. Yeah. By contrast, Uncle Dan loves his. I love my audience here, and I show that by dressing for you. I dressed nicely for you.
You did. I'm the first to notice that. I should do that. But summer is approaching.
Summer is approaching. Summer is hit here. It's we hit like 80 something degrees today. We had 80 degrees here. Yeah. It was a day of it was a beautiful day here today. And it was beautiful evening. That's right. Yeah, it's worth it's a photography worthy evening. Let me tell you that. So it's but yeah, it's today was gorgeous. I
did you set up your camera this week?
Set up my camera.
Did you do that this week? Did you take any pictures this week?
No, I didn't. I was very busy this week. I had a brief due yesterday. Got it filed about 6:20 my time. So a major brief, and so I spent a lot of time this week working, and then today I spent going around, and I was hoping to get out and do some stuff, and I did, but part of it was buying some things. A guy has. I know, yes, I'm moving, but a guy had a stupidly cheap sailboat for sale nearby.
Okay.
And so $250 for a 16-foot Hobie cake.
Okay.
So I just have to
enjoy it and leave it. You're gonna leave. You're gonna leave it as part of the property.
I could probably include it in the property, or I could. I can sell. It's only $250. I can sell it for
right.
I could, even if I sell it for $150, I get 3-4 sales out of it. It's like great.
Yeah.
And my older daughter is going to be here, and I hope that if I can't manage to get it in this week when she's here, my older daughter is ridiculously fit.
Yeah, I know.
She can do like handstands, I mean a handstand where her head is not on the ground. Well, she can do that. She's working on doing, managing the flag where she holds a pole and holds her body straight out, to the side. So ridiculous core strength. She was here about a year ago, and I'd bought a cheap inflatable stand-up paddleboard, and she said she wanted to try it out, and she went out and she disgusted me. I almost sent her packing. I almost told her get the hell out of here, because she went out on the stand-up paddleboard, and her fitness and balance are so good that she did not fall over. And she paddled and paddled and paddled, and she had never been on one before. So yeah, she's kind of disgusting. I don't know. She's very. Is Japan above or below the equator? Manif, and Michael, I was explaining how everything is reversed in the Eastern Hemisphere.
Yes.
So it's in the Eastern Hemisphere, everything is reversed. You were formerly left-handed until you moved to the Eastern Hemisphere, Michael. I'm sure you remember that.
That's right. Tokyo's got the climate of Washington, D.C., Manny. So hot, sweltering summers, and it doesn't really snow. Yeah. I'm sorry, you had a joke.
I had a joke. Yeah. I was going to say that in the Eastern Hemisphere everything is reversed. So it is of course winter in the Eastern Hemisphere. No. Yeah. So anyway, I do have a couple of new acquisitions.
Great.
So I will demonstrate these to you.
Okay.
Some time ago, I think I did a video about this great album. Stanley Black, Red Velvet, which shows a lovely woman lying on red velvet. Isn't that clever? with a console stereo, and on the floor beside her, very meta, there are a number of Stanley Black albums. There are 5 Stanley Black albums on the floor beside her, and a jar of jelly beans and her lovely pillows. So I have now a beautiful console stereo, not sadly I keep forgetting the name of it, the Essex console by London Records. Not an Essex console, but I have a console stereo, so I need to recreate this photo. So that's not new, but and this one isn't new because I had this and I forgot to mention it. I got it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Stanley Black, The Night Was Made for Love. Utterly cheese-tastic. This is 100% pure processed cheese, and it's great. And then this week I received this in the mail. The music of Lackawanna with Stanley Black, and it's look at these covers. This came to me, and it was sealed. It was sealed from the beginning.
Wow.
So never opened. I should have done an unboxing video on it, but I didn't. This is actually a little bit better than the others. It's a little less light. It's a little. Mr. Black was challenging himself a little bit more on this one. This was actually an older one that they redid. Black, Stanley Black, like some of the other people, like Mantovani and Castellanos, was a more serious conductor, and then started doing the cheesy stuff because it was easy and he could make more money doing it. Who can blame him for that? And then I was in a small bookstore in a local town, a small independent bookstore, and Susan, who was with me, found this. Lucinda Williams, Don't Tell Anybody the Secrets I Told You, a memoir, which is new, out this year, 2023 publication. So I just got this. I haven't even, I barely cracked it open. I haven't even read any of it. I consider Lucinda Williams one of the greatest musicians, American musicians around these days. Great vocalist, great musician, great songwriter, so Cartwheels on a Gravel Road, that was kind of her real breakout LP.
Yeah.
And it's great. I don't have that on vinyl. I have it on CD, but I have a bunch of her stuff on vinyl too. She had a stroke a couple of years ago, maybe 2020. But is recovering from that, and it did not affect her ability to sing, although playing guitar has been difficult for her. But she's put out a bunch of great albums, and recently she's been doing what she calls Lou's Songbook, where she does covers. She has one on Bob Dylan, Lou's Back Pages. All Bob Dylan songs, and which is the one she does one in there that's just killer, and I'm trying to remember which one is. Not Dark Yet. She does a version of Not Dark Yet, which is a great song, and she does a version of that, and you listen to it, and it's like, man, it's not dark yet, but I think I'll go slit my wrists, because it's just like it is that intense. But that's a great album. She's did a country, basically popular country songs from the 60s with End of the World on it. And I'm gonna do I did a video about Ricky Lee Jones' End of the World. Cover of End of the World, and since then I've gotten and I had Lucinda Williams' version of that already, and since then I've picked up, although not recently, but I've picked up in the last couple of months. The Skeeter Davis and the original, and Julie London's version of it, which is good, even excellent, although it kind of pales next to Lucinda Williams and Ricky Lee Jones, which is a little surprising. Julie London was a great vocalist, but she did not. That one she was. It feels almost like a contractual obligation album. It's kind of disappointing. I mean, she, generally was just able really to inhabit the songs and just, make them hers, and make it seem like, make it seem like she was the first person, that she's. I love it when you listen to a song and you're listening to somebody, and you feel like, for me, I love it when it feels like they're feeling that right then. This is absolutely immediate. And some of her stuff is that way. Her Crimea River just feels like that was occurring to her at the time, and she was just talking it through at the time. Unfortunately, this album, her End of the World album, is not as good as that. But you can't win them all. It's the rare person who puts out whose every album is great.
What was her last record?
Julie London's.
Yeah, she had an acting career, right?
She had an acting career. I don't remember what she has a big discography.
Yeah.
But yeah, she eventually started out as a pinup girl, really, and then had some bit pieces, and then had some bit acting pieces, and then then hit big. I mean, Crimea River was a #1 hit for 1955.
Yeah. I somehow always mix her up with Julie Newmar, who was Catwoman in Batman, right? Of that same ilk. Julie London may have had bit parts on TV series.
She did, and I'm trying to remember which one it was. And I ought to know, because I remember talking to my brother about it, and he had the same opinion I did, which was, he finally. My brother Al is one who helped me, and my brother Al is still living. Al helped me get into some of the kind of lounge and other stuff. Like he introduced me to Jonah Jones, the trumpeter.
Yeah.
Al, and so, Al was like, and he reminded me of the Billy Vaughn stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I had forgotten about the Billy Vaughn stuff, but he reminded me of that. But Al was like, this is, you ought to go back and listen to some of this stuff that we didn't care for when we were young,
right?
Because it's better than you thought it was, and he was right. Al's a big Dylan fan too. He's so, I mean, it's not, let me get straight about my brother Al. He listens to a ton of Dylan. He's a big Rolling Stones fan, which I'm really not. But he's a big Rolling Stones fan, big Van Morrison fan. He has a guitar that he purchased from a guitarist named John Platania.
Mm-hmm.
He used to play with Van Morrison, and played on was on recordings with Van Morrison, and the guitar is actually on recordings with Van Morrison.
He's not an attorney as well, right?
No, Al is still employed. He's older than me, but he's still employed. He is now a computer technician.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be a bricklayer,
Yep.
but has been a bricklayer, and then even after he started doing computer repair work, working on computers.
Yeah.
He continued to be a bricklayer and worked weekends laying brick. Well,
right. Right.
Even laid brick a couple of years ago. I'm like, Al, you're crazy. Don't do that stuff. So, yeah. I never had the contractual obligations LP. I saw it. I used to have Monty Python's Matching Tie and Handkerchief, and I don't know what happened to it. That's their famous 3-sided record.
Yeah.
really bums me that I let that one go.
I used to have a lot of Firesign Theater. I know Manny is a big Firesign Theater fan.
Oh yeah.
Did you know them? Did you ever see it?
I heard some of the stuff. I just never, I can't draw up any of it now. But yeah. The 3-sided matching tie and handkerchief. I bought it when it came out, and it went, I hit a fair amount of vinyl. I don't know if I got crazy and got rid of stuff. I don't remember doing that, but somewhere along the line, I lost a lot of vinyl.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've gone through my new acquisitions and including my new sailboat. I got a new turntable today. Realistic Labs 1600. It's in the other room, which is a linear tracker, and it's one where there's a little door on the front of it. Door opens up and the tray slides out.
Wow!
Put the record off. Close the door. The tray slides back in. Then you play it, and it came with the album, the record for the 1988 Summer Olympics.
Has a throw-in, or was it on the turntable? Yeah. Then the guy just packed it up.
It was on the turntable. It was on the turntable, and the guy said, "Hey, you just have it."
So it's in good working order, or you don't know yet?
It's in great working order. I plugged it in. I plugged it in and didn't put it, and the stylus looked fine. Nice Audio-Technica cartridge on it. It's a P mount, so. And I've got some spare P mounts around, but P mount cartridge. Stylus looked very good. I dropped the needle on the Olympic album, and looked like it was tracking fine and everything. I plugged it into one of my receivers, and it sounded freaking great. I'd cleaned up the album some, plugged it in, it sounded great, and then I played this. I played another side of this Music of Lackawanna album. And this one, a lot of times if you get, I bought other albums, old albums that were sealed. Yeah. And if they have paper sleeves, those paper sleeves will disintegrate, and even with the album sealed. And you will have, the album itself, the vinyl itself will be very dirty. This one had, from the late 50s, early 60s, I think late 50s on that. It had some polymer. I'm not sure exactly what the plastic is, but a polymer liner on the inner sleeve, on the sleeve for the vinyl itself, that had held up. And some of those polymer, they're worse than paper because they will off gas onto the vinyl.
Right.
And that's just terrible. And you can get some of them that are just shot.
What is the realistic track at though? What is
1.25 grams.
Is it adjustable?
It may be adjustable, but the P mount cartridges were all designed to track it 1.25 grams.
Interesting. Okay.
I'll take that back. Grado or Grado, they pronounce it Grado. They want you to try 1.75 grams. A lot of the P mount turntables do not have any option for changing the tracking force. So your Grado, the Grado P mounts will track it too low a weight for the cartridge.
They're still manufacturing P mount cartridges, right? It's not a discontinued.
Grado may be manufacturing P mounts, and Audio-Technica may be manufacturing P mounts, but they're pretty much gone.
Okay.
If you want, although there are a lot of P mount, you can get P mount styluses for a lot of stuff. So if you got a P mount cartridge, you can probably get a stylus for it.
If it's moving magnet, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, if you have, I have never seen a moving coil P mount. I'm assuming that there was such a thing, and maybe some, Maybe someone, many voices. Maybe whether there were any moving coil P mounts. I've never seen a moving coil P mount. A lot of people don't think much of the P mount cartridges, and they think that they're not as good as your standard half-inch cartridge. Although a lot of times the motor is the same as the motor in a half-inch cartridge. So
is that the first turntable you've ever owned that has the tray that comes out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd never even seen one of these. I'd seen them. How do you tell if your cartridge is a moving coil or a moving magnet?
Well, the moving magnet, most of the time, 99% of the time, the stylus is replaceable.
Most of the time, moving coil cartridges typically output at a much lower voltage than moving magnet cartridges. Moving coil cartridge will typically output somewhere about 0.2 to 0.4 microvolts. I think 0.3 to 3.5 microvolts is sort of a standard, and the moving magnets will put out somewhere typically, on the low end 2 microvolts, and on the upper end up to, well, some of the moving magnets will put out a lot more than that. Some of the DJ ones will put out like 7, but usually on the sort of home audiophile stuff, where they're tracking more reasonable pressures than a moving magnet. Many voices. The way a moving coil cartridge is made, the stylus has to be. You can replace the stylus, but you have to send it in, and a technician has to replace it, because the stylus, the cantilever, is basically just really part of the body in a way that it isn't on most moving magnet cartridges. So, and then there are a few oddities there, like the Electret cartridges, like the Microacoustics 2002E Electret. I've got a couple of those, and those are very, very fine cartridges, but ain't nobody doing nothing with them now. And you gotta, if you want anything on those, you gotta send it in and have them retipped.
I have a moving coil from Audio-Technica, the TT30E, and that was one of the rare ones that had a replaceable stylus. It a plastic case that you could remove.
Yeah.
But they're so expensive. If I go and find them on eBay, they're $200.
Yeah.
So
there were a few moving coils with replaceable stylus. No, yours would be a moving magnet.
Yeah,
a moving magnet, not a moving coil. The moving coil is almost never replaceable. The moving magnet tends to be generally replaceable. I'm not sure if there's a moving magnet design where you don't have one or not. But yeah, just look at it. If you're replacing the stylus, easily replacing the stylus, it's a moving magnet cartridge.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have a couple of moving coil cartridges, and I like both of them a great deal. But I have some moving magnet cartridges that I like a great deal too. So right now, I'm not real sold on the moving coil, because the moving coil output is so low. You have to apply so much gain to it, and whenever you apply gain to the signal, you apply gain to the noise. Mm-hmm. And although there are high output moving coil cartridges, Hana makes one that I've been thinking of getting. They output at like 5 microvolts, which is the number for the moving magnet. I think it's microvolts, not millivolts. Microvolts, I believe. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It's just, I don't worry about it too much. But yeah, you have to have a different, for a moving coil, you have to have, for the high outputs, and I have one high output. I have a Sumiko Blue Point moving coil cartridge on a very nice Rotel RP 855. which is a very nice turntable. And it is that cartridge. Usually, the moving coils are considered to be kind of more detailed. I'd say that one just sounds very smooth. It's just a very smooth sounding cartridge, and it's a very pleasant cartridge to listen to. But I can't remember where I was going with it. Oh, generally you need a different microphone preamp, or you need a step-up transformer for a moving coil cartridge. Any of the low output moving coil cartridges. And so I've tried like 4 different preamps, phono preamps, moving coil phono preamps, and I have 2 now that are in service. Although one of them is a moving magnet one. Cambridge, if you get into it, the Cambridge Audio Duo will work with both moving coil and moving magnet, and it has the lowest signal to noise ratio of any of them. So some audiophiles, and I don't consider myself an audiophile. Audiophiles will tell you have to spend a whole bunch more, but the Cambridge Audio, I think, is around $300. I got a refurbished one for a lot less, refurbished by Cambridge Audio, which is just fine.
Do you have a microscope or like a handheld scope to check the?
I've got both. I've got a microscope and I've got a loop.
Okay. Do they reveal what power really tells you the condition of a tip of the stylus?
Some people will say like you need 100x or so. It's just so hard. My loop is 40x, and I think that's plenty.
Okay.
I used to use that. I used to shave, and I have a bunch of straight edge razors, and I used to, sharpen my own straight edge razors on stones, and you inspect the edge with a loop, and I figure if I can inspect the finely honed edge of a steel of a razor, I can check that. I haven't, most of the ones I look at are okay. I think that a lot of the ones I get a lot of them are consumer stuff, and I just have had this feeling that a lot of people buy stuff and they listen a while and then they're not listening anymore.
So I've heard that it's sibilance. It's the if the words are sounding slurred, it's time to change the stylus. That's been the general rule of thumb. So and I know that some people are really anal about the number of hours that they put a stylus into service, right? Like the manufacturers say 500 hours, which could be complete bullshit. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Good to hear you.
What was it? Good to see you, Marius. Thanks for stopping by. What did you? I'm sorry, I was reading Marius's comment. Could you?
I've been. Right now, I have a Denon 103R, and I keep track of how often I use it. I know it's kind of stupid to do, but I'll listen for an hour. I'll put a note in a spreadsheet. I listen for an hour, and because I read that you have to retip a stylus at the 500-hour mark.
And I read that too, and that wouldn't surprise me. But you've listened to 500 records,
which doesn't seem like a lot. But when I was a kid, hell, I never changed my stylus, right?
Well, look, I bought this old console stereo, and I looked at the stylus and I thought, yeah, that looks kind of beat, and so I bought a new stylus. Now it's ceramic cartridge, but I bought a new stylus. Which is actually, I think, basically the heart of the cartridge. The way it looks is not just the stylus, but kind of the heart of the cartridge. And I put it on, and I could not tell a difference. I couldn't tell a difference at all. So I don't know, but there was a study done back in the late '60s, I believe, where there were people who were listening to records to ensure, they were doing they would listen to records that came off to the pressings. They were doing quality control on them, and they would ask for a new stylus around 300 hours, and the bosses were like, there are enough people doing this that's a if you can push that out a couple of 100 hours, you can save money, right?
Right.
So they did a study of it, and they were able to identify, they knew what to look for on the diamonds. And they discovered that these very skilled listeners, and they were listening for sibilants. They were listening on the vocals. Let's see, upper register of piano and flute, I think, will really show it. But they discovered that those people really could hear it. They could discern it. They could discern it sooner than they thought, and then they could train other people to hear it.
Okay.
They were able to train people. So the researchers, the people who were doing the QC work, trained the researchers.
So
yeah, my razors hate me now. So yeah.
So this is kind of an argument why you should not buy used cartridges.
Well, but I've had some really good luck buying used cartridges. I've bought them and look at them, and it's like I don't see any problem at all with it.
Okay.
And I put it under my digital, on my little digital microscope, and it's like,
okay.
And I'm like, yeah. I mean, some it's like, yeah, it's you can tell, but I like one guy. I bought a BIC 980 from him, which is a very good turntable, although BIC got a lot of grief. Bought a BIC 980 from him, and he had a microacoustics 2002E on it, and he said, I bought it. He said I upgraded it, and then it's like I upgraded it, and then I just stopped using it. And I've looked at others. I bought a Luxman linear tracker, Luxman P406. I don't know who manufactured that. It may have been Techniques. Luxman didn't manufacture it.
Mm-hmm.
But a beautiful turntable, works very well. Hey, Pedro, good to see you.
Pedro.
Guys, by the way, I'm, vaporing on here. Let us know if you've got any questions, if there's anything you would like us to chat about. We're kind of talking cartridges.
So there's a guy on Instagram called Groove Tickler.
Yeah, you mentioned him. He
and he'll give you a quote. You can.
Yeah. Man of many voices. Yeah. I mean, you don't want to try to retip a stylus.
Yeah.
I mean, that is something for a pro to do. If you have questions about any of that, go to audiokarma.org or the Audio Karma website.
Yeah, I love that. I love that board.
Oh man, there are people on there who know every damn thing there is to know.
Right.
Everything there is to know. There's a guy on there named Wualta, goes by W-U, I don't know how you go, what it's pronounced, but W-U-A-L-T-A, who seems to be just an encyclopedic knowledge of cartridges. So I like, when I got my old console stereo, I was like, okay, I couldn't figure out what the cartridge was. I thought I knew, but I wasn't sure. I posted a photo on Audio Karma, and like, man, I had answers. Like 3 people answered in like 5 minutes. I don't know, or 10 minutes.
Wow.
Like, I just got answers just right away, and led me to the site voiceofamerica.com or voiceofmusic.com, that is, by the way, a great resource. Voice of Music. If you're into old stuff like I am, into old turntables and stuff, man, they have stuff, really vintage stuff, and those people know their stuff. So they're a good resource. But the Audio Karma, I mean, like any forum, be careful, be cautious, because there are fanboys and haters gonna hate. But if you read any of the threads on those, and kind of go in as you should with any any of those things, read your thread on it, and read the thread on it, and kind of say, okay, who's kind of making sense, and
Right.
who's kind of making sense, and see where the consensus is falling. And that's a very, very helpful forum. And so, and I kind of like it, because there are people on there who want the most audiophile of audiophile people. But there are people on there who, like me, are who love oddball stuff and old stuff, and those people, they like the console, the people on there who love ceramic cartridges, and or man, that's where I went when I got a couple of Gerard Type A's, and those people were just like all over it,
What I love about Audio Karma is that each person types as part of their handle in the description of every time that they do a response is what their setup is. So you'll have guys who'll just say, I have this Sansui and this turntable and this set of speakers. It's just a lot of vintage lovers on. It's
and I do have one cartridge.
Both, Pedro.
Yeah, Pedro. I have said in the past on here, go out and get yourself a good Japanese turntable from like the mid to late 70s. Good Japanese, get a good receivers can be a little dicier because there's just a lot more in them. But, I bought recently for $50. I bought an Audio-Technica LP3 turntable. Got it for $50, and it's just freaking great. It sounds good. It looks great. It's beautiful. And they sell for $200. You can go buy, and cartridges, the new cartridges, you go get into vintage cartridges, and they're kind of fun, and they'll have different flavors and stuff. But if you want something that's just a really good cartridge, as far as I'm concerned, go out and buy almost any Audio-Technica cartridge. And then there are a lot of other good ones. I've got a Nagaoka MP110, runs a little over $100, I think, 110 to $120. I just got it on a turntable that, in fact, it got 2 turntables and that cartridge for $60. It was just such a deal. And the cartridge was in the guy said, yeah, I got it. And I just, hardly ever use it. It sounds good. The other one I'm thinking of, Sumiko. I've got a Sumiko Pearl, which I got a couple of those, in fact, and those sound just really nice.
Yep, a lot of fans of Sumiko.
Yeah, so you can go out and get or if you go buy an Audio-Technica LP60. And that's as cheap as I would want to go. I wouldn't want to go to the suitcase players. But an Audio-Technica LP60, that's going to sound great. Is it the best turntable out there? No, but it's going to sound great. I love the vintage stuff, but there's no reason not to buy new. And there are, I need to get, I've got like 3 new relatively new Chinese tube amplifiers that I love. They sound great. They sound awesome. China, the Chinese manufacturers, What do we got here?
He says, I have old magazines on DVD.
Oh yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
You can go like to the and you can go Radio Shack. All the Radio Shack catalogs are online, so you can find those. And I love seeing them. But yeah, I mean, look, I came of age in the 70s, right? And I wanted the Japanese gear. So I've got a couple of Sansuis set up, including the Sansui receiver that I had. I've got, my favorite turntable is a Sansui SR525, my overall favorite, with a Sansui cartridge on it. And it's funny, I have that Sansui cartridge, and you can buy a new stylus for it, but nobody knows who made it. You can buy a replacement stylus, but nobody, even like with this Wualta guy. I was on Audio Karma, and something, I'd written a post saying, man, guys, just have fun with what you got. And I told my story that I tell all the time about buying my Sansui SR525 and listening to it in the hotel room with junky speakers and a junky Sanyo amplifier and a tiny little, Radio Shack speakers, and absolutely freaking loving it. So Walter asked me what cartridge I had on the SR525, and I said that the Sansui SV27. And he said, "Oh, that's one of the great mysteries." He said, "Nobody," and I looked it up. I've looked it up. I'd love to get another one. I've got two Sansui SR525s, which are great turntables. I'm going to give the other one to my brother, Al, but they're great turntables. And that SV27 on there is like, it just sounds great, and it's conical. It's not an elliptical.
I can look up the part here. You should give me the part number. I can set up a search on Yahoo Auctions, see what they're going for.
Yeah, see if you can find one there. I have never found an SV27 for sale.
It might be under a different part number name, but anyhow, send me a message and I'll set up a search.
Yeah, okay. Manif, what Audio Technica turntable do you have, and what's your amp? I'd be very interested to know. I've been thinking there's a Chinese company called Sabaj, I don't know, Sabaj, that's selling supposed to be selling at very good prices amps that are supposed to have real flat response on them, and I've been thinking about getting one of those because you can get them for a couple $100, and I've been thinking about getting one of those and trying it out and see how I feel about it. I mean, like the Sansui receivers and amps are famous for being colored. There is coloration in those amps. But Bobby and I were talking about that a few weeks ago. I think the last time he was on, like Phase Linear, the guy, and I forget the guy's name at Phase Linear, who used to say, I can build an amp that sounds like anybody else's amp.
Right.
And he would just take the stuff and he would just tweak a few caps and resistors, capacitors and resistors, take his basic amp design, tweak a few caps and resistors, and it would sound like, somebody else's amp.
So when you say it's colored, it's warm sounding, like a tube amp, right?
Yeah,
simply that.
Sansui was doing that, so
yeah.
I have a buddy who repairs and refurbishes old stuff. This guy down in one of the suburbs of the Twin Cities, and he's like now. He is now saying that he's like he says he wants to see THD, total harmonic distortion, of above 0.5%, where it used to be, everybody wanted to, he says, man, 1% distortion. He's wanting to see that because he's like, I told him, I said, well, my Chinese tube amps, they're all spec'd at like 1% distortion. And he's like, man, he says, that's because he'd bought some amp with, he'd gotten hold of some amp or receiver with 0.8% distortion. And I said, well, those are Actually, I know what it was. It was a damn Marantz that I sold him for almost nothing. I bought it. I never cared for it. And I did some swapping with him and gave him the Marantz. It was not one of the great Marantzes. It's one of these low end, it was after Marantz was Marantz. Who bought it? Phillips or who bought Marantz? I can't remember. Anyway, it was people are like, oh, no, that's not a real Marantz. And I told him, I said, man, look at the specs. The THD is fairly high on it. He got it. And he's like, Dan, I love this. Why didn't you like this amp? And I'm like, oh, like and we said, again, I'll say this. Your setup is in a room that I am sure is not ideal.
Right.
Everybody's setup is in a room that's not ideal. You have a room that is lousy for sound reproduction, and that dominates the sound reproduction. And if you're listening to vinyl is not a very accurate medium. Have fun. Don't get bent out of shape about it. It's like,
I subtracted the carpet in here. I subtracted the two pillows I had on either side of my speakers, and I filled the room up with boxes on either side. My vinyl, it's like the room treatment is the same. I'm in a small room, listening near field condition. There's only so much you can do in a room to affect your listening condition when it's a tiny room.
Yeah, that's right. You can only do so much. Manif, I have that. That's the one I bought. I have that ATLP3. I bought it for $50. I'd say that's a great damn turntable. I put a better cartridge on, a better AT cartridge on, and I've been listening to some stuff, and I'm like, that sounds beautiful to me. And it's an automatic. It's an automatic. Although I just use mine as an auto return, but it's an automatic. You can just push a button and it lands there. Mine is white. It's beautiful. It's cute looking. I think it's a great turntable. I don't know what, the truth is I would not ever need a better turntable than that ATLP3.
Right.
And it'll, having listened to it with that somewhat better ATVM 520 EB, it's an elliptical stylus with a bonded elliptical diamond on it. But I've got a couple of, I could go up to a 540 on there because I've got which is a microlinear diamond shape on there. But listen to it, I'm like, first, it just sounds great anyway. And that turntable will handle up to the AT. I'm sure it'll handle up to the AT VM 540. And there are a lot of people out there who'll say that you don't need anything better than an AT VM 540L, which is
that's the Audio Technica microline, right? The 540 ml.
It's a magnetic. It's a moving magnet cartridge. It's a moving magnet design. Yeah, the VM 540 ml. Great reviews all over the place. I mean, the audiophiles love it too, and there are audiophiles out there who'll say, just get that. And given the fact that everybody's room is probably screwed up.
Well, it rides lower in the groove. That's the key to the microline.
Yeah, right? That's right. Yeah. But Manif, I'm guessing that. I don't know what your amp is, what that insignia is. I do know that. I will say this. There are guys out fishing right in front of my dock. I always love to see that. Just right out there. This was 20 years ago, I guess. I'd had my Sansui receiver from 1977 that I bought. And I used that, all that time. And I thought, okay, I'm going to get a new receiver and have one with a I'm going to buy a new receiver and have one with a remote control so I don't have to get up. and I bought an Iowa that was supposed to have much more, wattage, much more RMS on it. And I brought it home and I plugged it in, and my Sansui, I could run myself out of the house at about 6 or 7 on the dial, right?
Yeah.
If I cranked it up to about 6 or 7, it was like, this is too much. I could crank that Iowa all the way up, and it would be just like, okay, it would be like 3 or 4 on the Sansui, and it didn't sound as good.
Okay.
But a lot of the one thing is, a lot of the new receivers, amps and receivers, are made for audio video, and I think they are voiced for vocal reproduction rather than music reproduction.
You don't have as many speakers, right? You have
I just have 2.
abundance. Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that?
You have 2 speakers. You don't have the 5-channel system or anything.
Why is that? Why are you more passionate about turntables and amps than you are about the speaker portion of it? Is it space?
No, speakers. Yeah. For me, it's space. I've got speakers that, here's the thing. I just haven't gotten into speakers. I like turntables. That's what I like. I like turntables because they look cool. And
okay. It's really the technology. It's whether it's a belt or direct drive or the P mount and the weight. That's the fascinating part of it for you.
Yeah. Because there is something, really there's, vinyl playback is really Rube Goldberg, right? You think about vinyl playback, using it is a Rube Goldberg, especially for stereo.
Yeah,
the way stereo is encoded and decoded, and that. But you've got
it's bouncing in that groove, right?
Yeah, and then
left, right.
you got your stylus, so you got the diamond, you've got the cantilever, you've got the suspension.
Yeah, it is Rube Goldberg.
And it's bouncing around, then it's on the arm, and you got the turn. It is a Rube Goldberg device, and I just have I think that's cool. And there are just a lot of, there are a number, there are a limited number of approaches to it, but for me, it's sort of like, okay, what did they do here? How did they succeed with it? And the truth is, most of them succeed pretty well. I did one. I forget what I played on it. Maybe that was the one I did. Oh yeah, I did. I did Slim Whitman. I bought a Sears turntable manufactured by Matsushita, which is Techniques ultimately, but branded Sears. I paid $15 for it, and it's a junky turntable. Although it has an adjustable tracking force, so I couldn't figure out what the damn cartridge was. It was tracking at 3 grams, so I thought, okay, I'll leave it tracking at 3 grams. The stylus looked okay. I was like, okay, well, I don't know what this damn cartridge is. And I put it on, put on some albums that I was less, I'm not putting on my 45 RPM Eva Cassidy Songbird, audiophile disc or anything like that. But anyway, it sounded great. Okay.
That's a whole nother.
What are you? Let me see. You got an Amazon Fire Stick. So a Fire Stick sends out a signal. Is it like a tell me, is it like it sends a digital signal out? Is that right?
Yes. It's what's the TV connection? What's the I forget what it's called. The interface. It's not IDMB. It's
IDMB, that's the internet. Oh, IMDb, Internet Movie Database. Man, if I don't know, because you're getting into streaming there, and I know that a place to go for that, man, would be, I would suggest you go ask on Audio Karma, or go look at audiosciencereview.com. Audiosciencereview.com with Amir there, who is one of the few people I actually trust around, because he does actual testing of stuff. And it's not just sitting and saying, I think this sounds really good, so it is really good. He has a good testing. So. Yeah, you're used to the DVDs and having the audio come out from the amp. I have to tell you, I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. When I don't even watch a lot of movies. But when I watch, I'll watch videos on YouTube and stuff like that. And I have a set of powered speakers for that. Cheap edifier powered speakers, which actually sound very good. I think you need a DAC and a wireless streamer, a good DAC, a good wireless streamer, but I don't know what to recommend there. Topping, Topping, Topping is noted for selling very good quality, reasonably priced DACs and wireless streamers.
They're Chinese.
Yeah. The Topping pretty much tops out at Audio Science Review. The Topping stuff has lowest noise, best signal noise ratio. They are really good. They're really good quality.
Yeah.
So I would go to Audio Science Review, get some thoughts there. The only question I have is the Amazon Fire Stick connection to that. And I don't know how the Amazon Fire Stick is going to work. And all of my stuff, I got to admit, everything is wireless. On those things, it's all wireless anyway, because it's coming from my Wi-Fi, right?
Yep.
I don't have a wired connection to that. I mean, ideally, if you want to do that and just have it really completely as good as you can get, you want to wire your computer in or into your Wi-Fi. Use like a Roon music player, ROON music player is highly regarded, and use a good wireless streamer and good DAC and good wireless streamer for that. And you can get wireless streamers that will stream at at bit rates above well above audibility.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I need to go and help my wife order broadband at the local store, because she's there on her own, panicked, sending me messages.
Well, we got into some stuff, and I hope, folks, this was helpful for the few of you who've managed to stick around. If you can all get to Michael, I know, and I will at some point put an email link up in my on my Uncle Dan's Vintage Vinyl. But if you have questions, to the extent I can answer anything, I'm happy to answer anything, except I will not give you legal advice. I'm not your lawyer, and I will not give you legal advice. You must seek out, if you have legal questions, seek out a lawyer licensed in your jurisdiction who is also competent within the field of law that you have. Don't go to a trust and estates attorney about an intellectual property matter. But I won't give you advice about that. But yeah.
Okay.
So,
well, fellas, Pedro, Manny, Dan, it was a pleasure.
Okay, folks, we say as always, mes enfants, nous disons à vous, vous êtes très jolis, vous êtes très intelligents, vous êtes merveilleux. Nous vous aimons beaucoup et nous disons à vous, au revoir, mes enfants.
Au revoir.
Et aussi, à bientôt.